Good morning and welcome to the Culver City Chamber of Commerce's Candidate Forum. Each candidate will be given a 2-minute opening statement followed by 5 questions at 2 minutes each that I will ask, along with a 1-minute closing. Michael Hamill, chair of the Culver PAC, will be the timer, ringing a cowbell to end the 2-minute and 1-minute segments. We'll record the video forum as well, which will be placed on our YouTube channel. Let's get started. Our first candidate is Mr. Scott McVarish.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Scott McVarish. I'm a parent here in Culver City School District. My daughter will be entering the middle school next year. I love our schools. We have very good schools, but I see room for improvement, and that's why I'm running for school board. If I were to critique the district in one sentence, I would say we suffer from the same problem that school districts throughout the country and throughout time immemorial suffer from, and that is they don't necessarily prepare our kids for the future, rather they are repeating things that have been done in the past. So for instance, at the high school, we don't have any coding classes. Well, technology is a very big industry in our community here and in our state. We need to upgrade those types of offerings. So one of the things that I'm looking forward to trying to bring to the school district are academies. A Science and Technology Academy, a Trades and Industrial Arts Academy, a Leadership Academy. We already have an amazing Performing Arts Academy, but that doesn't reach enough kids. So I foresee a future where kids will have the choice of 4 different academies, that those academies will bring in resources from the outside, just like the Performing Arts Academy has brought, and those resources will be relationships with businesses, relationships with nonprofits, relationships with mentors. There are so many opportunities. For instance, our 3rd largest employer in Culver City is Cementech. There's not a very large relationship between the district and Cementech, yet they've got some of the best coders in the world. Hayden Track, I represent a firm in Hayden Track who will not let anybody from the outside speak with any of their employees except the CEO. Why? Because they're constantly being poached. Their employees are making over $100,000 a year for doing coding of, you can't even imagine like how obscure some of the stuff is in terms of what they're doing, but their employees are so in demand, and we need to have our students become those employees.
Thank you. How do you see the role of the Culver City Chamber of Commerce and its relationship with the school board, the district, and the schools?
Well, I think the best illustration is what happened during the bond. There was, amazingly enough, there was controversy about the bond. For anyone who knew our schools, had been inside our schools, had been at our schools every day like I had, it was a no-brainer. We needed a bond to upgrade the facilities and the safety. There were some people against it, including a school board member. The bond came out for it. They came out for it, and the people here helped make that bond pass. When we have academies, and even if we don't have academies, the ability for the businesses we have to provide mentorship opportunities, apprenticeships, internships opportunities are currently happening in our community, but I think there's a great unmet potential there that can increase. So I see strong relationships between the chamber. I myself am a businessman. I have 5 employees. My office is in Howard Hughes. I provide internships for law students, not for high school students, but I can foresee businesses being able to employ and work with high school students. And then finally, the last thing I would say is that it's important that you look at who you're electing, because you want to see who their relationships are. Anne and I are very close with people on the Bond Oversight Committee. We're very close with a lot of people in the chamber. That's who we go to when we want advice. That's who we listen to. Those people have our phone numbers. Those people call us. I'm in conversations, certainly during this campaign, probably every single day with someone in the chamber, and they're either lobbying me on something or I'm lobbying on them on something. And we can and should do that because this is a brain trust, after all, here in our district.
In your opinion, what would be the elements and characteristics of a positive relationship between the school district and the local business community?
You know, I think what we need to look at is the capacity for businesses to be involved. We don't have right now we have the great Performing Arts Academy. There are lots of opportunities for businesses to get involved with those kids, and they do. I think we're lacking the Leadership Academy, we're lacking the Industrial Arts and Trades Academy, and the Science and Technology Academies. When we do have those academies, that will open up a lot of possibilities for businesses to work with our students, for our students to be placed in those businesses, to have more mentors. That's the type of relationship I envision. In addition to the incredible things that individual businessmen and businesswomen do in our district, the Rotary Club spent $50,000 in creating a Mac lab at El Rincon. That is amazing. Excuse me, it was an Apple room full of Apple computers. That's an amazing thing. But it shouldn't just be taking from the business community. It has to be listening to your concerns, your insights, and how you want to contribute. And I feel like as a school board member that comes from the business community and has enough relationships with people in this very room, that I would be very well placed to help facilitate that.
Please name 2 programs or content areas at any level that you feel are a success and why. And please name 2 programs or content areas which you perceive to be in need of strengthening in order to better prepare our students to be college and career ready, and why.
Sure. The AVID program at the middle school, I think, is a great example. It helps bring in students at the middle school and helps them individualize their possibility for success. It really reaches and challenges kids to reach their potential. At the high school level, we have the advanced program, AP classes. I entered UCLA as a sophomore because of the opportunities I had at Kennedy High School in the Valley here in Los Angeles with the AP classes. I can't tell you what an advantage that was for me in college. That meant I could actually have a little bit of fun, which I didn't have in high school because I was already ahead. And with that fun, I was able to travel abroad and do an education abroad program. So AP classes are essential. I'd like to see more of them, more opportunities for kids to be able to get those types of classes. In terms of the problems, you know, not all of our kids go to college, and not all of our kids should go to college. Right now, a master electrician makes $83,000 starting salary. You can become a master electrician after 4 years, starting at the age of 16. Or you could have $80,000 of debt by the age of 20 if you're in college. So, you know, the idea that everybody has to go to college, I don't think that is accurate anymore. A lot of the people in the tech startups that we have in Hayden Track either did not finish college or bypassed college because technology is such a great industry. We are not preparing our kids for careers in technology, and we're not preparing them for industrial arts and the trades. So those are 2 programs that I feel we are severely lacking, as are most school districts. It's not as if Culver City somehow fell behind other districts. And that's where I believe the academies won't make incremental improvement, will make significant and dramatic improvement.
Do you propose any new or expanded initiatives for the school district, and how you go about funding those on an ongoing basis?
Okay. I guess you're tired of me talking about academies at this point. But the funding is an important idea behind the academies. The very first thing, if we were to create a facility that is, let's just call it a shop on steroids. We used to have shop when probably most of us were in high school, maybe not you, but most of us in high school, and that went away after a while. And I'm not talking about reinstating a shop class. I'm talking about creating a state-of-the-art place for kids to learn trades. I've met with the head of the Building Trades Council in Los Angeles County. They have an A through G credentialed class that kids who are learning trades will actually get college, UC, Cal State credit for. We need a facility to house that. I can't tell you this plan would work, but I can tell you this is something I would investigate. We have this building that people think is a monstrosity called the natatorium. I see that as a potential state-of-the-art lab for CAD engineering, for learning the trades, and we have bond money to do that. Will that be a priority? The community will decide, but that's certainly a vision I'll put forward. So we have the bond money to upgrade some of those types of offerings, but academies in particular really do attract outside funding. Not just the business community, not just, say, volunteer coders coming from the Hayden track or from Symantec, but I'm talking grants from the federal government. I'm talking grants from local and state areas. When you focus on a offering, and particularly one that's new and exciting like academies, there are funding opportunities for that. But then ultimately, what we're really talking about is just having the right staff. Having the right staff be able to do this and attracting enough support from the outside community that enables us to keep this a low-cost advancement in our school.
Thank you. Do you see a project labor agreement, or PLA, playing a role in construction expenditures of the Measure CC bond-funded facilities improvements? And if so, what are the benefits of an agreement for our students and the educational programs at CCUSD, and how will this affect local small businesses?
Sure. I understand that the Chamber has taken a position against the PLA, or at least that's a common thought in the Chamber. I am someone who will say the exact same thing in front of this group as I would in front of a group of parents or a group of unions. On the whole, I'm in favor of a PLA. I've worked in school districts for 10 years, and I know how they work. However, Anne and I, who are both in favor, well, all three candidates, in fact, are in favor of a PLA, or at least we were before this endorsement hearing. I'm presuming we are during this endorsement hearing. The difference with Anne and I is who we go to listen to concerns about a potential PLA. So first of all, I'm in favor of trying to negotiate a PLA. I am not ideological and will say we want a PLA, project labor agreement, no matter what. The concerns I've heard so far from my friends on the Bond Oversight Committee and from some individual Chamber members are concerns that I would make sure are addressed in a PLA. So, number one, for a project labor agreement, I would not agree with any project labor agreement that favors unionized firms over non-union firms. That is number one. I want it to be a level, balanced field, a playing field, and that the lowest bid wins. Number two, I would not support a PLA that's going to increase our costs of the wages. The state sets the wages, they call it prevailing wage. I would not support a PLA that increase those costs. Number three, I would not support a PLA that harms local businesses. And in fact, the very opposite, I would want to negotiate a PLA that favors local workers and have a certain percentage that's required to come from Culver City. And I can also see an exemption for certain projects. PLAs really are meant for the largest projects possible, and not many Culver City firms compete at that level. There's only 4 or 5 in the entire county. So I would make sure that local businesses are protected, local electricians, local contractors, local attorneys as well.
All right, thank you. You've got 1 minute to give us your closing comments, please.
Sure. I'm very passionate about this issue. I'm not running because I'm interested in a career in politics. I am running because I have a wonderful, precious daughter who's about to enter middle school. Even before I came to El Marino, I went first to the middle school because I wanted to make sure it was a school that I could send my daughter to. What I saw then and what I saw now is different. Then I was not really sure that this is going to work out, but I trusted El Marino enough that I was going to give it 6 years. Now I see exciting things happening at the middle school. This district has so much potential. We have a great leader in our superintendent who I support 100%. He's put in a great team. In fact, his team is so good that they continue to get poached from other districts. So I support what we're doing. I just feel like I have enough background in the district. I have enough energy, and I'm someone who just is a magnet for good ideas, and nothing stops me when I have a good idea. And so I feel like I can make improvements in this district, and I'm sure many of the things you think we should have improvements on are ones that I will be championing. Thank you so much for your time.
Our next speaker will be coming up, Ms. Kelly Kent. She will be given 2 minutes for an opening statement, followed by 5 questions, each 2 minutes that I will ask, and a 1-minute closing. Mike Hamill, our chair of our Culver PAC, will be timing you and holding up signs at 30 seconds and at the time to conclude. We are recording the presentation for our video channel and look forward to hearing from you. Kelly Kent, thank you.
Hi, very happy to be here. Thank you for having me. Is this working? I'm Kelly Kent. So I'm actually from the East Coast, but I came over to Los Angeles in 2005 because I decided to get a graduate degree in neuroscience. So I went to USC to get a PhD in neuroscience. I graduated with that PhD in 2011. Now, traditionally, when people get a PhD in neuroscience or really any biological science, they are determined to stay on the Research One tenure track, right? So that's the traditional path. And I did think I was going to do that when I started, but once I got towards the end, I realized that something was not going to work on that path for me, and that's that I wanted to have a family life that allowed me to spend time with my family. That's what they're there for. So having a family life where you're really involved with your family and Research One tenure track do not work well together. And I didn't want to spend all of my time really biting my fingernails and stressing about writing grants for government funding. So I decided immediately after graduating that wasn't going to be my path. So since that time, I've gotten involved in teaching, which is very rewarding, but I almost immediately was able to start a small business. And so now that's my primary work, where I have a small consulting company called Adaptive Consultants, and we give professional development to teachers. So what that looks like is I go out into educational environments, private and public schools, charter schools, any independent education organization as well, and go and give the teachers training. So we teach them how to incorporate what we know about how the brain learns into their curriculum and lesson plans. I also do that for parents. I also teach students directly about how their brain learns, because we now know that if a student understands that a brain is like a muscle and gets stronger with practice, they will be more motivated to learn. So it's extremely rewarding and fulfilling, but I'm also able to do what I would like in my personal life and participate in this community. Thank you.
How do you see the role of the Culver City Chamber of Commerce and its relationship with the school board, the district, and the schools?
So I've been learning a little bit more about that recently, actually through Sue Robbins, who I don't see in the audience, but I understand that she's on the board currently trying to enhance that partnership. So I'm excited to be a part of that. I mean, I can appreciate the role that businesses play in educational environments because I am a business owner of a business that wants to enhance educational environments. So that relationship is very obvious to me, and there are lots of avenues through which we can pursue those partnerships, through regional occupancy programs and through other relationships where we're able to have mentoring and internships and all sorts of other partnerships between businesses and the schools.
In your opinion, what would be the elements and characteristics of a positive relationship between the school district and the local business community?
So is that asking me specifically what it would look like? Like how would the relationships work? What are the elements and characteristics?
What does, yeah, what, like, as you were asking, what does it look like?
So I would see internships, I would see mentoring, so people, students in high school coming into the businesses to work with them in one-on-one environments, perhaps the businesses coming into the schools to give alternative visions of what's an option for you. It doesn't have to just be the academic classes that you're getting in school. There are lots of other employment opportunities that we don't learn about traditionally in the high school environment. I could also see the businesses supporting education through not necessarily learning opportunities, but through, supporting events and therefore letting the community know that those businesses are there. Those are some ideas I have.
Please name 2 programs or content areas at any level that you feel are a success and why. And please name 2 programs or content areas which you perceive to be in need of strengthening in order to better prepare our students to be college and career ready.
Okay, so let me do strengthening first because those are on the top of my mind. So the strengthening are the Gifted and Talented program because it was so underfunded for a long time. So it really just, as a result of the recession, needs a lot of help now. And I'm in a good position to contribute to that because I have a really nice set of expertise from my professional and academic experience about what a gifted programming needs to look like. And then the second but related piece of that is that we need to have a lot more advanced studies in general, and in particular, computer programming is one of them. Every student at the high school needs to have much more access to computer programming in this day and age. And then also we need some more opportunity for advanced language programming. Areas that are deficient academically, right? My understanding is that at the middle school, there have been some deficiencies in advanced math programming. So I'd be interested in pursuing, things that are great. Things that are great, sorry. So I've also heard that the drafting class is incredible at the high school, and so I'm really excited to learn more about that. And in general, I would say that the reason I'm in the district is because it's so fabulous, and I want to contribute to that further. I'm not here because there's any urgent need to make dramatic change. So things are overall going really well.
Do you propose any new or expanded initiatives for the school district, and how would you go about funding these on an ongoing basis?
Okay, so instead of talking again about GATE and computer programming, I'll talk about another thing that I'd like to expand, which is sustainability initiatives at the school district. Okay, so there are tons of ways to save resources and save dollars by expanding sustainability plans between both the school district and City Hall, actually. Okay, so I've been on the Parks and Rec Commission for a year. This is a really incredible asset because it means that I have some insight into how the city works. And I can see already from that experience where there's room for the city and the school district to partner, even just on small parks and facilities items that have come to my table in the past year. And there's lots of room for growth because even just the solar panels at the main campus have saved millions of dollars. Think of how much more could be saved if the two entities were cooperating with a master sustainability plan and was able to then parlay that into the programs that are in need of further advancement. Have you been giving me the sign?
You're okay, time-wise.
Okay, just wondering because I haven't gotten any indication.
Okay. Do you see a project labor agreement, or PLA, playing a role in construction expenditures of the Measure CC bond-funded facilities improvements? And if so, what are the benefits of such an agreement for our students and the educational programs at CCUSD, and how will this affect local small businesses?
So I do see the PLA playing a role. It should play a role. It would ensure that the work was done by skilled labor, which is really important. It would ensure that the work has minimal risks to health and safety, which is very important. It would ensure that the workers are treated fairly. But I think the biggest benefit would be to the students because with that PLA would come the guarantee that the students have access to, traineeship, technical opportunity through relationships with these contractors. Okay, so that's a really important opportunity for our students. Now, my understanding is that with this agreement, it would also ensure that we would do our best to boost the relationships with businesses in Culver City that are able to provide those contracts. Okay, so it actually benefits the workers, it benefits the students, and as part of one of the stipulations, it's going to, as best as possible, use businesses that are local. Right, so win-win-win.
We've got 1 minute to close for us, please.
Okay. So I think that what's most important about my support is some of the people that are supporting me, because what it speaks to is the work that I've already done in the city. So I've been on the Parks and Rec Commission, and 3 out of the 4 people that could endorse me for this candidacy are doing so. That means they've seen me in my work capacity, okay? They've seen me in a position where I have to both listen to the public and weigh what do expenditures on the general fund side look like. And in the school district case, it's gonna be your general fund side and your bond side, right? And 3 out of those 4 commissioners believe that I have the right constitution to be able to handle that kind of decision making, and that I can really pull together sometimes disparate opinions and make policy work out of it. I'm also supported by Council Member Megan Sally Wells, who I think many of us in this room think has done a fabulous job herself. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome to the Culver City Chamber of Commerce Candidate Forum. You will be given a 2-minute opening statement followed by 5 questions that I will ask you and a 1-minute closing. Each of the 5 questions you'll have 2 minutes to respond. Mike Hamill, our chair of the Culver PAC, will be the timer. He'll hold up signs when you're at 30 seconds and when your time is up. We'll video record the forum so that we can place this on our YouTube channel. We look forward to hearing from you. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce Anne Burke.
Hi, and thank you so much for having me. I'm really honored to be here and be able to just give you a little bit about myself and what I feel I can do for the Culver City Unified School District. I'm Anne Burke. I have 2 children at Elmina Language Schools, and I have been volunteering and serving in our district for about 11 years now. Prior to that, I got a master's in education, in counseling actually, in LMU School of Education. And I also have a master's in knowledge management from Cal State Northridge. In a previous life, I worked as a project manager and a business analyst for high-tech companies in their IT departments. I've served as the PTA president, as a room parent. I currently serve as the council, a district-wide PTA's 4th vice president. A council PTA is the PTA that actually serves the entire district, not one school, but all of the schools. So I've been doing a lot for the district for a while now, and I was ready to take it to the next level and serve on the school board. Thank you.
How do you see the role of the Culver City Chamber of Commerce and its relationship with the school board, the district, and the schools?
The schools are a reflection of, in many ways, the success of the city. I think when I moved to California 16 years ago, no one wanted to move to Culver City. And I go, Culver City? And then I had children, and then everyone, the buzz was, you have to go to Culver City, it's all about the schools. And so I did. I made the move from West Hollywood over to Culver City for the school district. And I really wanted to invest in that. And it returned, the investment was absolutely 100%. It was the right decision. And then I said, now then, after the schools, I became more involved in the community. And I saw how involved the businesses and the community was with the schools. And that I also cherished, being like in a huge city. It was nice to see in Los Angeles, Culver City operate as one supportive, cohesive group. I see that they have to be unified and they have to work together so that both sides continue to be successful in the city.
In your opinion, what would the elements and characteristics of a positive relationship between the school district and the local business community?
What were the positives?
What would be the elements and characteristics of a positive relationship between the school district and the business community?
I think we have some steps now, such as have the chamber having an education outreach liaison. I think is an essential part of that. Continuing that relationship would be more positives. Having more dialogue between the chamber and the city and the school district. Having more probably attendance at both meetings, where that dialogue and conversation was happening more often. Figuring out how the chamber could develop and work more with students. I know that the chamber has been very involved in supporting the teachers, especially with this whole new school year and their swag bags and making them feel supported, which I think is amazing. I think there's a lot the chamber and the businesses could do locally for our students too, with mentorships, apprenticeships, and things of that nature.
Please name 2 programs or content areas at any level that you feel are a success and why. And please name 2 program or content areas which you perceive to be in need of strengthening in order to better prepare our students to be college and career ready, and why.
I think the my knee-jerk reaction to that question is I'm pretty proud of the Backpacks for Kids programs. I think if we have students in our district who can't be nourished and sustained, then they can't learn. So there's no college readiness conversation happening if students can't even be properly fed. I think that was a big transition for our school district. And so that showed a huge initiative to really support from the ground up. I think another great program in our district is AVPA. I think we have a wonderful arts and audiovisual program in the schools, and we are sort of well known for that in the city and outside of the city. So that's successful. The areas for improvement, I would say we probably could use more involvement with businesses for students who aren't necessarily just going to college. So there could be mentorships with businesses that could lead to, again, apprenticeships, mentorships, different types of internships at schools. I think we can enhance that area for students in our school district.
Do you propose any new or expanded initiatives for the district, and how would you go about funding these on an ongoing basis?
The one that I was sort of just alluding to is probably the one with the career path academies. This is where I think this type of program can really benefit our district. We have, about 2,000 students at a high school level. They're not all going to four-year schools, so what are they doing? What are they doing after they leave? What is the transition question? So I want to be able to provide those students with an opportunity to be of service in the community and in the district after, to give back in some meaningful way. There are other jobs. When I was younger, I had a very limited scope of what opportunities in the world there were. It was lawyer, doctor, maybe something else, teacher. And I think we need to be able to provide students with the breadth of opportunities there are in how to serve and have a meaningful and purposeful life in the community. I think we have businesses, and we have Silicon Beach coming in behind us, but we also have businesses within our city now that could provide and help those students to come out of high school with something really meaningful, earning a salary, earning a wage, and not just thinking about how am I going to go apply for a target position.
Do you see a project labor agreement, or PLA, playing a role in construction expenditures of the Measure CC bond-funded facilities improvements? And if so, what are the benefits of such an agreement for our students and the educational programs at CCUSD, and how will this affect local small businesses?
There's no question that the PLA is going to be part of the conversation as we discuss how to manage and spend the bond money that's coming in. The PLAs, I've never had to negotiate one yet, but that would be the key word there, is negotiation and understanding what that truly means and how that benefits the students and the schools. That would be my first priority. How to spend this money fiscally with any negotiation that made the best sense for the students. But also how that money being spent, how that would serve to support the businesses, because we can't have support for students and then the business is dwindling, and then get this contrast of, we have great school districts, but no one wants to move to Culver City. We want to keep businesses coming into Culver City, the restaurants, everyone wants to come in. We want to keep that thriving as well. So I would hope that those negotiations would always involve conversation and dialogue with small businesses and local businesses here in Culver City.
Okay. Thank you. You have 1 minute to conclude.
Thanks again. I see lots of familiar faces here and lots of friends who I think, for me as a potential school board member, I could be a great source, and a great source for a new relationship and liaison between the schools and businesses. So I really thank you for your time, and I look forward to hopefully your endorsement. Thank you.
Thank you.